15 Great Varieties of Daffodils. Just like its French pastry namesake, Petit is a tasty treat for the spring garden, typically blooming in March. There are 13 divisions of daffodils based on their traits. Thus plant falls into Division 4, comprising varieties that have more flowers on each stem and extra petals per flower. This gives it a fluffy appearance and more showiness for your floral arrangements. The new baby daffodil is a miniature hybrid variety that looks fantastic in hanging baskets, containers, or anywhere else you can appreciate its yellow-edged petals and sweet fragrance. Although the flowers are petite, the fact that you get 3 to 4 flowers per bulb multiplies your blossom count. This plant blooms in late spring. Division 6 daffodils, such as Rapture, have a distinctive protruding cup with swept-back petals. Rapture's lovely sulfur lemon flowers grow one per stem, and the blooms are bent at an acute angle to the stem. These flowers are good for cutting, as well as for attracting bees and other pollinators. Rapture is usually among the earlier daffodils to appear in March. The Mary Gay Lirette daffodil is a distinctive addition to a spring garden. Most pink daffodils lean more toward apricot or salmon, but this 2013 introduction sports a true pink. Its extremely ruffled split-cupped collar makes it nearly unidentifiable as a daffodil, bearing more of a resemblance to a peony. This showy flower typically blooms in April. Derived from the very old King Alfred cultivar, Dutch Master daffodils are one of the most popular cultivars produced worldwide. Its showy yellow flowers feature the classic daffodil trumpet shape and generally bloom in early to mid-spring. Plus, these plants multiply freely into clumps over the years, making them ideal for a naturalized wildflower garden. Pheasant's eye, also known as poet's Narcissus, is a native species plant that is among the first of all Narcissus to be adopted for cultivation, and it remains a popular choice. Like many species forms, pheasant's eye daffodil has the ability to multiply quickly into large but never invasive colonies, making them a favorite of many gardeners. Its pure white flowers surround a small yellow cup with red edging. The blooms tend to arrive in late spring and give off a pleasant aroma. In fact, this daffodil is often used to fragrance perfumes, with some comparing the scent to jasmine or hyacinth. Professor Einstein gives gardeners a striking, large flower that features a waxy orange cup against glistening white petals. The flowers generally bloom in mid-spring and have a pleasant fragrance. This plant also naturalizes well in a garden and readily comes back year after year. And as a bonus, deer shun its blooms, as they do all daffodils. The Crewenna daffodil falls into the Division 1 category, which is the classic trumpet shape that appeals to many gardeners. These daffodils feature a center cup corona that is at least as long as the outer petals of the flowers. This daffodil blooms early in the spring, appearing in March in spite of sporadic frosts and freezes. It's also one of the taller varieties, providing a nice visual accent to the spring landscape. A true red tone has yet to be achieved by daffodil breeders, but red Devon comes pretty close with its red-orange cup surrounded by yellow petals. Created by an English hybridizer, its name comes from the red cattle of Devonshire. Red Devon blooms in mid-spring and is an eye-catching addition to flower beds and borders. Valdrome falls into Division 11 due to what's known as its split-cupped collar. Within its white petals is a ruffled yellow open cup, rather than the typical daffodil trumpet shape. This daffodil almost has a day-lily appearance to it, as if it's a prelude to what summer will bring. In fact, Valdrome is a late-blooming variety, often waiting until May. The tall, fragrant flowers of Sir Winston Churchill are worth the wait, appearing in late April or early May. Each bulb averages 4 flower stems that sport creamy white petals with bright yellow centers. There can be as many as 4 flowers per stalk. The frilly double row of petals somewhat resembles carnations, making this plant lovely as cut flowers. In the 1950s, Irish daffodil breeder J. Lionel Richardson developed a series of flowers with exotic names, including Tahiti. He was especially fond of daffodils with deep orange in their cups, providing a striking contrast to the brilliant gold petals. Tahiti has large flowers, roughly 4 inches across. Ask a gardener about the fragrance of paperwhites, and you're sure to get an answer as strong as the flower's famed aroma. Some find it sweet while others think it's a little too musky. One thing gardeners agree on is that paperwhites are very easy to grow indoors. The bulbs will produce brilliant white flowers after several weeks when grown in a container simply filled with water and stones. A brilliant white daffodil, such as Toto, is the perfect choice to contrast colorful spring flowers. Toto is a dwarf daffodil, growing less than a foot high, and it blooms in early spring. It's great for containers or to edge the front of a border or garden bed. Each stem holds as many as 3 star-shaped flowers with white petals that contrast a pale yellow cup. Follies produces showy flowers on tall stems in early to mid-spring. On each stem, a yellow frilled cup accents 6 snowy white petals that stretch about 4 inches across. This plant tends to naturalize well and come back year after year. And if you visit the Netherlands, where Follies was bred, you might see fields of this daffodil in bloom in the springtime. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more interesting videos. And please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm.